When this happens, it's usually because I'm in somewhat of a book slump, but it's not even a book slump. It's like I want to read, but there's just too many options. So we have Killian, who's a psychopath. We're probably, if we get to Powerless in this video, that will be an accomplishment in my mind. But it's more of like a grown-up type of Hunger Games, and I feel like it's really interesting. And I've been doing this same sort of analytics type spread, but look at this 3. I completely messed it up. I can't. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah. We are on my floor right now. I'm not using my ring light, I'm using natural light. So I'm sorry if the lighting is weird. I do feel like it's washing me out. Okay, we tried without the ring light. I feel like this is not doing like a super lot more, but I feel like I look a little bit more alive. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to another video. Welcome to another reading vlog. I haven't done a reading vlog in a little bit. That is for several reasons. One, I know I say this after like coming back after several weeks, but it's just been so busy in my life lately. It's been busy every day. There's something going on. I just haven't had the time to film, edit, or read. So I feel like that's why I haven't been doing a reading vlog lately, because you need to do all those things to do one. Things have slowed down a little bit for me and I have some time now. I'm actually going on vacation in a couple of days. I always get the urge to like film and edit when I'm going on vacation. I don't know why. I will have some time to read later on. So I figured I would start a reading vlog today. How many books can I read in a week on vacation? We'll see. We're going to Colorado. My boyfriend and I are going to Colorado to visit my cousin. If I know my cousin, things are going to be packed. She has an itinerary already and it is packed. So I don't know how much I will get done on vacation, but I feel like there are going to be some chill times. We're going to an Airbnb in the mountains, so I feel like that could be like a chill couple of nights as well. I just want to see how many books I can read after coming back to reading after not a long time, but longer than I'm used to. After a couple of weeks of not really finishing a book. When this happens, it's usually because I'm in somewhat of a book slump, but it's not even a book slump. It's like I want to read, but there's just too many options. Like there are just so many books that I suddenly get the urge to read, and I start a couple of chapters and then I'm like, wait a minute, I'm in the middle of this other book, and then I never finish that one book. Right now, I am currently reading Red Rising, God of Malice, Powerless a little bit. Let me look at them, actually. Okay, so here are my books that we are reading right now. First, we have God of Malice, then we have Red Rising, and then in this cute little bookcase, we have Powerless by Lauren Roberts. These are all 3 very anticipated books for me, and I feel like that's what happens is I just start a bunch of books at once and then I never finish them, because obviously I'm in between a bunch of books at once. So it's like instead of reading one book, you're reading a book that has this many pages, and that's why it takes me a long time to get through books. But I really want to get down this whole currently reading TBR, see how many books I can finish this week. It is Monday today. I think I'm gonna try to do this until Sunday. We'll see. I just really want to get through some of these books and be down to reading only one book. There's something just so, I said this before, there's something just so satisfying about only reading one book at a time. And I feel like for someone who's not as ADHD as I am, like that's normal to only be reading one book at a time, but it's not normal for me. I have to read like several books at a time at all times in my super ADHD moments, because if I'm not into one book, I want to keep reading, and then that's why I start another book. That is a long explanation, but basically we're gonna see how many books we read this week. Also, I did my nails. They are yellow to match my t-shirt. I was inspired by my t-shirt. This is from Comfort, the brand that has like all the hoodies and the weighted hoodies and all that stuff. I did buy a hoodie, but there's like a back order on it, so this one came first, and it is so comfortable. The brand is called Comfort, but it is so comfortable. Like I can't even explain to you how comfortable this shirt is right now. So it inspired me to paint my nails yellow. I have a lot to do on the computer today, so I think that we're gonna be doing a big audiobook day and reading in between there. So first, let's talk about our books that are currently on our roster. So first, we have God of Malice. I am just about 100 pages into this book. I mean, actually, I'm on chapter 12, which is 144, page 144. This is where we're at right now. This is a dark romance book. It is of the Legacy of God series. I feel like I've been talking about it so much lately. On my last like 3 videos, I've definitely mentioned this book, but it was on our April TBR, so I did start it, and it's also on Kindle Unlimited, so I've been reading it on my Kindle as well, which is super helpful at nighttime. The first book by Rina Kent. It is Killian and Glendon. It's like I think it's like a mafia type romance. So there's Killian Carson, who is, she even says in the beginning, he is a true psychopath, not a make-believe villain, nor a bad boy who's eventually tamed. So we have Killian, who's a psychopath, and here is a little character picture. And then we have Glendon. Both their families are wealthy, but Glendon is more of like a good girl. She's more innocent. And of course, that is the classic dark romance trope, is the bad boy and the innocent girl. It's like a whole world. And there are two colleges, and one is the Kingsview, and one is the Royal Elite University. Glendon, who is in the Royal Elite University, and then you have Killian, who is in the Kingsview's college. And the Kingsview college is basically known as the mafia families. They go there, bunch of shady stuff happens there. And then there's the elite, Royal Elite University, where like more of the famous people go. Like her mom's a famous artist, her dad is famous for another reason. So they're basically foils to each other, where the Royal Elite University has like the rich, posh type kids. Glendon's brother is sort of like, he's like a little bit shady sometimes, so there's some shadiness in the Royal University as well. And then you have the Kingsview, which is just like all shady. That is our setting for this book. Those are our characters. This book starts very, very questionable. Please read the trigger warnings. I am telling you, please read the trigger warnings, because this first couple of chapters, I was just like, I was not expecting that, and it was crazy, and almost put down the book. But I kept going because it was so Wattpad core. If you remember, if you were in the age of when Wattpad was a thing and super, like when we were like in middle school, which we should not have been reading in middle school, but Wattpad just had these types of stories. It's so Wattpad core. It was so nostalgic for me in a weird way. So I kept reading it. And that is God of Malice. That's our first dark romance book we're in between. And then we have Red Rising, which, to be honest, I never thought that I would read. This has been on my TBR for so long, and then for my birthday last month, my boyfriend actually got me the second book, Golden Sun, so it was on my mind again. And then I had like an audiobook hold for Red Rising, and it came through, so I started it. And now I'm invested. I am on chapter 17, page 124. This is a science fiction book, which is not something that I usually read. I don't think I ever read a science fiction book, but this is a science fiction book trilogy that is very, very famous. I'm listening to the graphic audio versions of it. Graphic audio, for me, it'll get me invested in any story, honestly. Like, it's just so good. Like, it's literally, the tagline is watching a movie in your mind, and that's literally how it feels. I listen to this on my runs, I listen to this on my walks. I am listening to it majority because, like I said, I love the graphic audio version, but I have been reading some as well because the graphic audio version, because they have all the sound effects and the different cast of characters and everything like that, it does take longer to read than if I just like read it myself. So I'm reading some of it, but mainly listening to the audiobooks when I'm like doing stuff around the house. And I feel like this is what I'm going to be listening to a lot today. It kind of reminds me of Hunger Games, to be honest. So you have this, it's a science fiction world, so it's way in the future. The Earth has died and people have moved to Mars. So our main character is Darrow, and he is a part of the Reds, who are like the lowest totem pole on like the human race, essentially. And I'll give you this little visual is what I looked up on Google to explain the sort of color system, the color cast system that happens in this book. And Darrow is in the red area, the very bottom area. He is part of the mining crew, so he takes all the risks, does all the mining to make Mars livable for humans. The world was literally built on the backs of the Red caste system. They're very poor, very District 12-esque, which is why it reminds me of Hunger Games. He's 16, but in this world, people don't live very much past their 20s. He met someone that he thought was in his like 35, and he was like, he's ancient. Like, they consider 35, 40 ancient because people just don't live that long in this world anymore because they're taking all these risks and everything like that. He is married, and his wife Io plays a big part in the beginning of this book. It says it on the back. It says his wife is taken. So his wife is taken, his people is enslaved. Driven by a longing for justice and the memory of lost love, Darrow will stop at nothing to bring down his enemies. That is the whole Red Rising. That's where it comes from. They have a revolution going, essentially, which is why it reminds me of Hunger Games. It is so interesting. I just love reading this story. It is, like, I don't love science fiction, but I really do love listening to this story. So that is Red Rising. And then our last one is actually been put on the back burner, sadly, because I did not expect this book to be one that we put on the back burner, but that is Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I am only on chapter 5, Kai, page 31, so I'm really not that far along at all. Honestly, I think I want to give this book its own attention span and not be in between 2 other books while I'm reading this book. So that's why I put this one on the back burner. If we get to Powerless in this video, that will be an accomplishment in my mind, because that means we will have read these 2 other books. We'll see how much I can read this week, and you can come along with me on my couple of days prepping for the vacation, and then come along with me on my trip to Colorado, and we'll see how much we can get read there. So I am gonna go make a coffee and turn on the audiobook for Red Rising.
On Mars, the family Augustus, the family Bellona, and the family Arco.
Chapter in. I'm on page 18, and I thought I'm going to update you on actually what's going on currently. Crazy things happened. Darrow wants revenge. He is convinced by this sort of like group of rebellious Reds, I think, I'm pretty sure, that have connections into other colors. He gets convinced to become a gold, which is the top of the top. Their idea is that if they can get a gold on the inside, then they can take down the whole system from the top down. Golds are a lot different than Reds, because Reds are at the very bottom, golds are at the very, very top. They've just had, over the years of being golds, they have a lot of different characteristics than Reds. Like, one big example is they all have blonde hair. They all have gold eyes or bright eyes. It very reminds me of the Lannisters from Game of Thrones. Like, that's very much how I feel like golds are. And not only that, but they have like a different chip in their brains. They have different markings on their hands, just because everyone has like a sigil of that like shows their marking of whatever color they are on their hand. So the golds have like golden wings. They have like a lot of different physical things from Reds. So the journey to become a gold is something that Darrow has to deal with, and it's painful and it takes some time. They do it, and this is not a spoiler because it says it in the back, even if he must become one of them to do so. When he becomes a gold, he goes to the Institute. When he can pass as a gold, through with all these different people, all this different help, create his basically a new person from nothing. Because he can't be Darrow anymore, he has to be someone else with a whole new backstory, a whole new history. And so he has a bunch of people that help him do that, and after he accomplishes that, he goes to this institute. And the institute is where all the Reds learn how to rule, they learn all the secrets of the world. Oh, also Darrow found out a crazy secret in like the turning point of part 1 that was kept from him and is kept from the Reds for their entire life, and that was crazy. The reveal of that in graphic audio, even though I kind of knew it was happening, was crazy. Really fuels his revenge, and it's already at its peak because of what happened with his wife. There's like a bunch of secrets that the Golds are keeping from the lower cast of colors. And it's just such an interesting world that Pierce Brown has created. I see what people mean, how he is the best intro sci-fi writer, because the world that he creates can, toe to scratching, can actually happen. So, but it's all so intricate. It's so interesting. We're at the Institute now. with Dad. He's gonna start learning some things. But like I said, it's very interesting to me. And as someone who's not a science fiction person, if you're not a science fiction person, don't worry, because I'm not a science fiction person. And this is so interesting to me. We're gonna keep listening to it. I think I'm gonna do some of my reading journal while I listen to some of the graphic audio, because it is April now and I have to do my March spreads. And I don't think I'm gonna have a separate video for it like I do sometimes. I'm just gonna put it in this video. Also, just like Game of Thrones, they have animals to represent their houses. Pierce Brown, did you get info from Game of Thrones? Because I'm feeling like you did, but I love it.
First to get 5 bars becomes Primus of his house. Each bar is bounty.
We have finished our reading journal. We have listened to the audiobook the entire time. So we went from page 18, or chapter 18, page 129, to now we've just reached chapter 23, page 175. So that's we'll do the calculations, how many pages that is. Did our whole reading journal while we did it. I updated it for up until this point, up until April. We added some more of our books onto our main spread. I tried the Dutch doors with this spread, so I'm excited to fill that up. We did our stats for the month. Favorite book and the book bracket for March. Mine was definitely Leather and Lark. We didn't have any bingo spaces this time, sadly. Also, Simba's right here. He's been like low-key mad at me because I've been doing all this stuff on my lap, and he usually sits on my lap when I'm on the couch, so he was like staring at me for a while and just like mad that I had stuff on my lap and he couldn't come on it. So now he's just next to me. We didn't have anything for book bingo today or this month, but we did fill out Nothing Like the Movies and Leather and Lark for our ABC challenge. No DNFs. And I added Nothing Like the Movies as our purple book for Read the Rainbow. We did our March wrap up. And I've been doing this same sort of analytics type spread. But look at this 3, I completely messed it up. I've been doing this type of like analytics spread for my wrap-ups. I like it. It's like a lot of information all on one page. And then we did our April spread and our April TBR. I love how this one turned out. I feel like I could have used more pastel-y colors to make it more like Eastery, and I messed up a little bit on this like bubble R, but that is our TBR. It's so interesting because like this is so like colorful and fun and happy Eastery, and then I have just so many dark romance books on my TBR for this month. But that is it. That is what we've updated while we've been listening to our audiobook. I have to edit a video, so I might take a break, edit a video, and then we'll be back with more reading. I really like where this book is going. It's very, very Hunger Games-esque now. Like they're in these sort of trials where they have to prove themselves and form different alliances and stuff like that. So that's kind of interesting. Didn't really expect that to be part of this book. And that's where we're at. That's how much we're reading today. It is only 12:30, so the fact that we've already read like 50 something pages, pretty good. I've also been drinking these a lot as like a little snack. The Chobani strawberry banana protein Greek yogurt drinks. They remind me of those little like Danimals things that we used to have when we were kids. I'm gonna go put these away, read some more of Red Rising, edit a video, and then we'll be back. Hello everyone, good morning. I have my Gryffindor cup of coffee. I just got off the treadmill. I walked for about 45 minutes. I do go to the gym now, but I'm gonna try to walk along with going to the gym every day because it's getting so nice out. I have the windows open. I didn't walk outside today, although I could have, but I was really into reading my book, so I didn't decide to walk outside. Speaking of, I have been listening / reading to this book for the whole morning. It's now about 11 and I'm on page 250. Yesterday I think I left off at page 195. So I've read about 55 pages so far today of Red Rising. I'm really liking where it's going. It's very, like, I know I keep saying this, but it's very Hunger Games-esque. Like, it's more and more giving me the Hunger Games vibes, but it's more of like a grown-up type of Hunger Games, and I feel like it's really interesting. I feel like I know where this is going. It's also a lot more political than I feel like Hunger Games ever was, as far as like when they're in the, like in Hunger Games they were in like the games. They're basically in a dome essentially for like this games, and it's being watched as entertainment by all of the golds, all of the rulers essentially of the world, which is very Hunger Games-esque. And they have to form alliances. It's like interesting. They have to like form their own society within this dome, and that's how they get graded on how well they did. So it is interesting, but of course there's a lot of like blood and gore and not the best. So I don't like love that the most, but it is very interesting, and I'm interested to see where Darrow's story is gonna go. Although I think I'm gonna take a pause from Red Rising and read some of God of Malice now. Red Rising is like, I feel like it's getting a little bit repetitive, where it's just sort of like they've been in this dome for like months now, and it's all sort of like the same things that they're dealing with, like conquering other houses. It's a little bit confusing as to like what houses they conquered, what houses they need to conquer, and like when like the end of it is gonna happen. So it's like a little bit confusing. So they're gonna take a brain break from this book that I really have to think a lot about and turn to God of Malice, which I don't have to think that much about. And we'll see how much I can read with that. I just need like an easy read while I make my breakfast. I'm also watching SVU. This is so Wattpad. Like, I know I keep saying it, but like as I'm reading it, I'm like, oh my god. I feel like I read like just the way that she writes. It's so nostalgic though. I love it. I can't. Oh god. there are just some things. Sometimes you just read a sentence that you never thought you would ever read in a book before. And then you do. And it's got a malice. Oh my god. Oh my goodness. Alright, so now I wanted to show a little bit of our Denver, Colorado trip because right after that Wednesday we did end up going to the airport and flying to Denver. We saw some really amazing things. Right now this is a Meow Wolf, which is like a whole like artistic interactive experience. It was so cool. And then we found this super cute bookstore. It was called, I think, the Spicy Librarian, and I was absolutely obsessed with everything in this little bookstore. This was the fantasy section. There was a whole romance section, a whole contemporary section, and just all the plants and everything was so cozy, and I wish I lived in Colorado so I could come here all the time. There's a little vault, and then this is the dark romance section, which I thought was so funny the way that they presented it. And then this is just walking around some really nice towns, the really nice ski towns, cute little bars that we went to. We just had such an amazing time seeing all the mountains, and we were definitely very busy in this trip. So I did not read a single page actually in this entire trip because we were too busy taking it all in, and I read on the airplane. So now we're going to head back to the present. Hello everyone, good morning. It's been a little bit since I've actually talked to you. We got back from Colorado recently and it was amazing. It was so much fun. We were visiting my cousin and her boyfriend there. We just saw so many amazing things. I probably put in a few clips for you to see. I did not have nearly as much time to read as I thought I was going to have. So I didn't do Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. And I thought I'd have more time, which I don't know why I thought I had more time, but I thought I would. But with that being said, we did end up finishing Red Rising because I mainly listened to the graphic audio version of that book, and it was so good. Like, I am very surprised that this is not like a bigger thing because it was like almost like a grown-up Hunger Games to me. More kind of like melancholy, and just in general, it wasn't a young adult book, so there were like more gory scenes, more sad scenes and everything like that, but it was really good. I listened to the graphic audio version, like I said. That really got me into the whole Red Rising world because I would listen to it on my walks outside or on even my runs even outside, and I hardly ever listen to anything but music on my runs outside because I will get distracted so easily. But I ran like 3 or 4 miles while listening to this audiobook just because it was so good. I am surprised. I gave it like a 4, maybe a 4.25 even, because I'm excited to read the next couple of books. It's a very interesting world that Pierce Brown has created, even though it's sci-fi. Like, it's my first sci-fi book, and I like it. It's about how the different classes are labeled in colors, and the top is gold, the bottom is red, and you know there's green, purple, brown, pink, everything in between that means different things. Our main character Darrow starts as a red. They're risking their lives to try and make Mars livable for the human race, and then just through a bunch of things happen, but Darrow finds out that the golds have been lying to them and they have been living on Mars for like ever. And they're just telling the Reds that they're still like saving the world, just to get them to keep drilling and to keep working so hard with so little money, so little food, because they're trying to make them think that they're doing something really good, even though they're really just adding on to the excess that the golds already have, which is they already have excess on Mars. And they have like gravitation boots, they have these like insane hairstyles. It's very Capital-esque. Like that's what I mean. It really reminds me of the Hunger Games, is the golds are very Capital-esque. When Darrow figures that out, he actually decides to become a gold and participate in this sort of like tournament. He has to go through a whole bunch of different things, change his face, change his body, go through different procedures to look like a gold, because golds look different than like reds or browns or pinks. Then he enters into this tournament that basically is like supposed to be like a school, but it's literally like Hunger Games, like that's what it is. And the goal is to make one big society from like 12 different societies, and you have to conquer to do that. So that's where like the blood and gore comes in. But it was such a cool concept, and I really, really liked it. I would even recommend it if you're not into science fiction, because I was not into science fiction. I didn't think that I would like it at all, but it was very good. And that was Red Rising. And then we read a lot of God of Malice. I am now on chapter 18, page 227. It's a good book. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's not a good book. Okay, it's not good writing. I'm not gonna lie. It's not like the best writing ever. Going from Red Rising to God of Malice, it's not the best writing ever. It is entertaining, and it's keeping me entertained, even though I'm like, these should be in prison. Like, they do some bad stuff and they're at school, which is crazy to me. They're doing this, I just read this chapter where there was like this initiation going on, and it was just so, it was just like basically they put on these like masks and they hunt people. That's what they do, and that's the initiation. And it's just like, how is this going on in a school? It's just, you have to take a little bit of yourself out of the realm of reality to enter into the world of God of Malice, because it's about like a mafia school versus like a high class preppy type school. And it's just, you could see the difference in some of the scenes that are in here. And of course it's like really spicy. It is a dark romance book, and some of the scenes in here are just, read trigger warnings, please. It's very much like, why is this bad boy so into me? I'm such a normal girl type thing. And she has like self-esteem issues, so that's another kind of trope going into this. But it is, okay, my cat keeps meowing, so I gotta go, but I will come back and tell you more about God of Malice. First, let's read a little bit, because this is interesting. Hello everyone, Editing Sarah coming here again. Filming Sarah did not finish recording any of the video, but here again to give you the outro. I ended up getting to, I think, 60% of God of Malice, and then I started Red Rising number 2, Golden Sun, the next book in the series, and I got like 30% of the way done with that. So these totals conclude my reading for this week. I'm sorry it's kind of all over the place. I really wanted to see how much I could read when I'm on vacation and things like that. Turns out, at least for this one, it was none at all, besides on the plane. I think we did read some really good books. I like doing these just little easy, quick little reading vlogs, weeks in my life, because it gets a glimpse at just like, you know, a busy reading week in my life, which I think is fun to see too. But yeah, that is gonna be it from me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.